Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports, and let's talk a little Zion Williamson. No games today in the NBA, but before I get into that, make sure you guys hit subscribe, like, and hit that notifications button on the bottom of the screen. I think it's this way or that way. I have no idea. So here's the deal. Zion Williamson did not text CJ McCollum as of last Saturday, because CJ McCollum went on at the All-Star game saying that he's not heard from Zion Williamson ever since he got traded to the Pelicans. And then on ESPN First Take, JJ Reddick went off and saying he's not a leader. The Pelicans neglected to mention Zion's name on the season ticket holder thing, whatever information, and let's just call it what it is. But I think a couple hours after on NBA Today, it was determined that he did text him, just like hours after seeing it on ESPN First Take. And quite frankly, a lot of people would say a lot of things, but there's certain parts of JJ Reddick's thing I don't agree with, but then there's certain parts that I do agree with. So let's check out these clips. Tell me what you guys think after, and we'll analyze this after these clips. Jag from Jaggy Sports.
And I actually spoke to CJ McCollum this morning, and he told me that since he said this, Zion has reached out to him, and the two have spoken. But JJ, what's your reaction to sort of all of this hullabaloo here?
This is very abnormal, and Matt, you can attest to this as well. Matt's I always tell people this, Matt is one of the greatest teammates that I ever had. It doesn't matter if you make a trade for a player of CJ McCollum's caliber or you sign a two-way player. You text him, you call him, you reach out. CJ played 5 games for the Pelicans before All-Star break. It really is baffling. I want to hammer home this point, and this goes for anybody in professional sports. If you play a team sport, you have a responsibility as an athlete to be fully invested. You have to be fully invested in your body, in your work, and in your teammates. That's part of the job description. So to me, I know he's hurt and I know he's away from the team. There's still a responsibility to just be a good teammate. That's part of it. It's unprofessional, and I don't want to just belabor that, but it is unprofessional. And I would say this too. I'm rooting for Zion Williamson. I think we all are. We want him to be healthy. We want him to be on the court doing amazing things and showcasing his unique skill set. But part of it is just being a good teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the things that sort of gets conflated sometimes is being the best player and being the leader of a team. It's not always the same. But frankly, right now, Zion Williamson is neither. He's not their best player because he's not playing, and he isn't the leader of this team, which is why when you look back at who the Pelicans have sort of put around Zion, it's been folks like you, JJ Reddick. It's been folks like Drew Holiday, CJ McCollum, and Garrett Temple, Matt.
I mean, this is when you become a leader, JJ can tell you, it takes a while. Malika, we spoke about this before we were on air. Giannis learned how to be a leader. Not everyone can come into the league like LeBron and just be a leader. Zion is a very unique talent, and I just think it's going to take some time to learn how leaders move, because that's what they're looking for him to do. But on the flip side, I don't think Zion wants to be there. There's been rumbles, not necessarily from him, but from his family from the jump. And it's hard for small market teams to keep young superstars because there's such an attention to the big markets and the opportunities that you can get elsewhere. So I think the writing's kind of been on the wall for a minute, and the Pelicans have kind of overlooked it, hoping they can change things. But it told me a lot when they don't have him in the season ticket promo, the franchise player. So obviously the Pelicans know something that we may not personally know, but they may know from either his family or him, an inside source. I don't think Zion wants to be there anymore. Well,
Zach, he's eligible to sign an extension this offseason. What do you make of the situation down in New Orleans?
Well, first of all, when we hired JJ, I texted him a congratulations, welcome to the team text message for the record. And yes, this is one of the biggest. This is one of the biggest storylines of the offseason. This is Zion's 3rd year. Every first-round pick after your 3rd year, you're eligible for an extension up to the max. I would love to be a fly on the wall for those negotiations if they even happen, given that Zion may miss this entire season and is clearly disconnected with the Pelicans. Look, JJ and Matt can speak to this. The NBA has a weird labor structure where if you're a first-round pick, the team that picks you, you have no say in that, really. You have some say. You can strong-arm your way here or there, but you don't have that much say. And because of restricted free agency, they essentially have control of you for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. That's a long, long time in a profession that doesn't last 20 or 30 years. That might be your whole career. And for a long time, there's been whispers. Who is the first real star player who, instead of signing that extension, is going to say, no, thank you. I will come back for the 1-year qualifying offer, which he can do after his 4th year, and then I become an unrestricted free agent instead of a restricted free agent. My team doesn't get matching rights on me. I can go wherever I want. And by the way, you may trade me before that because you realize I'm leaving. I don't know if Zion's going to do that. I'm not tied into his camp. It's obvious that there's something amiss with him and New Orleans. And the risk, obviously, is, particularly for you guys who had some health issues, you would normally want to sign for all the money you can get right when you can get it. So this summer is going to be really interesting. I'm not tied into his camp, but something is very, very wrong here, and the entire league is watching.
I think what's also interesting is we're not necessarily talking about the fact, again, you just touched on it, Zach. Where is his health at? You're hearing he may have a second ankle surgery, and for someone as big and dynamic and athletic and strong as he is, foot or knee issues are a big red flag. So I'm interested to see, like, where is his health at? Because I think a prime Zion, the best Zion we're going to see is between 260 and 265. He looks a lot bigger than that right now, and I think he's obviously played at a higher weight. So to me, where is the health and stability of his feet? Because if you don't have feet, you can't play.
Well, and you can see the Pelicans' record there with and without Zion. JJ, though, you've been in this locker room. If you're Zion Williamson's teammates, how are you handling all of this when you're hearing, okay, initially there was no conversation between this new star coming in and the person you've kind of been told is, or maybe not told, but seen is the face of this team?
Yeah, in Zion's defense, when you are injured, it naturally feels like you're detached from the team. When you can't compete with your teammates, and he's not physically in New Orleans. I think he's been in Portland. I'm not sure where he's at right now. So in his defense, like, there is a level of detachment. And I would say from the Pelicans player standpoint, they've felt detached from him the whole season. They haven't had him. They haven't had him for games. They've gone out and battled. Willie Green has done a great job. They've got a position to be in the play-in game this year. But it's one of these out-of-sight, out-of-mind things to me. If I'm a Pelicans player, the guy hasn't really been around the team. So I don't think it's that big of a deal in that locker room right now.
And to add to that, that's not, again, JJ, that's not abnormal. Whether it be a star or a big-time player, like, most of the time when these stars are injured, they're not necessarily with the team. And the hardest thing is to actually have to come to practice and have to come to games because you can't play. So it's not that we're painting Zion as some kind of diva. He doesn't want to be around the team. This is normally how it works when a star is unhealthy and he's trying to get
right. It's just a matter of out of sight, out of mind for how long.
So there you have it. Basically, you got JJ Reddick saying that he's not a leader. Well, guess what, buddy? He is a very young guy, and not everyone is born a leader like LeBron James when he entered the league. Sometimes it takes a couple of years to develop that, and I get it. Zion Williamson is just not mature enough to do that yet. But eventually he'll get there. He's fairly young, right? But his desire to play elsewhere is almost a guaranteed. I've been saying this for quite some time. Zion Williamson will end up in New York as a New York Knick. You guys can take my word for it all you want. You don't have to take my word for it all you want, but it's going to happen, 100%. He wants to be in New York. He wanted to be in New York. Getting drafted by New York was his dream. And when they fell to the third spot and the Pelicans went and got number one, he did not want to play there, even though he's still injured and kind of thing like that. I get he's injured, but he could honestly, like, grab a personal trainer, grab a chef and whatnot, and put his body right. He could actually come back from this, but he does not want to play in Pelicans. And this offseason, he can sign an extension to be with the Pelicans. And they made it actually a good point, because if you're that injured, you want to sign that extension because you want guaranteed money. But he hasn't signed. He's not going to sign the extension. And once he does not want to sign the extension, that's when they'll trade him, 100%, because that's a clear indication that he does not want to be there. Because, like I just said, if he was that injured, you basically want that kind of money coming to you because you're not playing. You need all the money you can get. But he's not going to sign that extension. So it's just a matter of time before Zion Williamson is a New York Knick. And quite frankly, I think it's going to be a Julius Randle for Zion Williamson trade this offseason. Tell me what you guys think. Will Zion Williamson end up in New York and play for the Knicks? Jag from Jaggy Sports. Make sure you guys hit subscribe, like, and hit that notifications button on the bottom. Jag from Jaggy Sports.